Iraq. Left that, went to nuclear security at San Onofre for a few years, and then got picked up by Federal Protective Service, Department of Homeland Security, federal police officer for 14 years. So I went up, became a commander of West Los Angeles, went over to Federal Law Enforcement Center training, Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Glencoe, Georgia. And that was where we trained 95% of law enforcement. So I was there 3 years with our department, doing our physical security. So cameras, doors, windows, however it comes in. I was also an assistant senior instructor for all of our firearms, use of force, offensive tactics, taser, active shooter, so be it at Flexi. And then I came back to the field as a commander again and started running all of our training programs for all of our officers, lethal, less lethal, everything. So that's where I came from. Then I moved to Secret Service. Now I'm just a security specialist. So I sit down and write their occupant emergency plans. It's office work. I just sit there, answer the phone, need a plan, all right? I got to fly out to Minnesota to help a new guy, but then the right plans. So a lot of traveling, just writing plans. Some, I guess, coasting and law enforcement in my golden years, which is any time after 45 in law enforcement. That's your golden years. If you haven't hit command, you're either not going to hit command because there's a reason, or you're just like, I'm going to chill. So I decided to chill. So what we're going to go over just today, and again, the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. I absolutely love participation. Please talk, stop me, raise your hand. Let's discuss, especially in this area. It's a nice area, but just like Orange County, where everyone says no crime happens, Orange County is very good at hiding their crime because they don't want property values to go down. Where I was at in Aliso Viejo, everyone said it was magical. There's no crime. Sitting and having coffee with the sheriffs every morning, hearing about the murders. We had a terrorist attack, domestic, or it was a bombing. It was domestic, so male, female. He decided to send her a package. She opened the package, and it didn't end well for her. So, but there's crimes like that all over the place. Active shooters, everything. So how do we be aware of it? That's the main thing of this. And I want to just chat. You got someone here, and you all have tons of experience too. So it's good to get to know people, what they have, and hear their stories. Hear what they know, because it's all relevant. I don't care how old it is. Survival. A caveman can teach me how to survive. I can learn something from a caveman, and I want to learn something. So we're just going to go over the importance of incidents in non-school settings. Not so much this is would be more of like an office setting, but just being situationally aware, knowing your surroundings, knowing people, seeing that random guy who's homeless, or excuse me, unhoused. Apologize. Who's unhoused, walking through this neighborhood, obviously doesn't something out of place. So, it's up to you. You can either engage the individual, talk to them, but what risk are you putting yourself at? Everything you do in life, you have to weigh what is the risk reward. And we do that every day. If I wear this shirt, am I gonna get made fun of by everyone that I'm going to hang out with today? That's the risk reward. But we do make those decisions based on things. So I'll never be afraid of that. We're going to explore the run, hide, fight. I think it's self-explanatory, but it is worth talking about. We're going to go over one real world, just a case scenario, and we're not going to get into it. I'm not going to show video. There's nothing like that. If you really have the morbidness of it, feel free. Go to YouTube, Consumption Junction, all kinds of sites that have it. So feel free. And just, any incident actions, some resources that are available to y'all. And anyone can have this PowerPoint. I told Larry Larry can hand it to anyone, so you can take a look at it. If you're gonna present it to people, let me know. Slick me off like $10 if you're gonna make money off it. But if you're giving it out for free, explore the knowledge. If you need further information, let me know. I have no problem. I say I have my company. I'm terrible at business because I have a job. So it's just like, I'm here to help out. I just needed a means of how to get paid if someone asked me to do something at a bigger level. Smaller stuff like this, I love doing this because this is where it's supposed to happen. We're supposed to take care of our village, how we share our knowledge, how we become a better community. So active shooter, it's now coming on, we're now kind of moving away from that term. It's going to be, it's more of an active event or an active threat, because it's not just a shooting now. Someone's running and randomly stabbing people, or they're running down New York and stabbing. Someone's running people down with a vehicle. So we just start calling it now active threat, because it just means it's happening and it's a threat. If we know they're shooting, we'll say active shooter. We'll usually say what it is over the radio when we figured out what it is, but until it's an active threat, that means respond accordingly. So that's how law enforcement's gonna come. They're gonna come wired up, full of adrenaline, and you're probably gonna be staring down a barrel or two. If you're on the other side of me, I'm coming in because you're all a threat. Everyone I'm coming to is a threat until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
So we'll go over how they come up. So as you see in the stats right here, going over, FBI just released 20 to 2024, their breakdown of all the active shooter incidents. And surprisingly, there was a 53% drop in active shooters.
That's good.
Great. Problem is we can't identify why. So, data, if we can't do anything empirically, it's kind of hard. So right now we're riding out that good wave. So what can we learn from it? But oftentimes, 10, 15 minutes, it's over. The person comes in, starts shooting. Some's planned, some's not planned. There's been no definitive what causes an active shooter. It's all across the board. It's always been that way. And so anyone that tells you that I can prevent an active shooter is selling you something, and they're lying. There's only one way to stop active shooters. And I can do it. I just need to have everyone to have a total frontal lobotomy, and you can't have free thought. I can stop active shooters. But so that's not going to happen. They're always going to be it. We can't stifle people, feelings, thoughts, emotions. What happens in the heat of the moment could be a great person their entire life, and that one thing just causes them to snap. It's unfortunate, but knowing what the catalyst is never been proven.
Do we know that most of them are because of someone who's mentally ill, or is that just a myth?
No, so what it is 25% of the active shooters were someone with a discernible mental illness. Taking that over the size of society, it's the same percentage. 25% of society has diagnosed mental illnesses. So it's the same society. So nothing has proven that's the catalyst, where they're this, or was it a domestic abuse? Was it a domestic violence? Was it domestic terrorism? Was it international terrorism? There's nothing. While all of it may have some ideological, some of them may have it, some don't. So we can't have any discernible way, like, hey, if we do this, we will prevent this many active shooters. People find a way to surprise us all the time. That's why law enforcement's always employed. So law enforcement may not be present at the onset. Of course not. If I'm coming up as an active shooter, I want an area of weakness.
Yeah.
I don't want an area of 19 SWAT officers coming up against me. It's going to end very badly for me very quickly. As proven with the Las Vegas, they just had a shooting at a gym. So good video for fire. If you're doing firearms and you're doing rifles, the officer does a textbook job as far as maintaining 45-degree angle, keeping it up, engaged, came back, you hear him click the safe, and then as the individual runs out, engages, pops out, puts 2 rounds in the individual, he drops them, comes back to safe, no rounds will pass. Amazing textbook way to end an active shooter. But the fact that the person walked in with an AR and shot up a gym. But it was that one appeared to be a targeted attack towards one of the workers, because I think it was a previous employee of the So it's very quick. So with that being said, being Arizona, unlike California, if you're allowed to carry and you want to carry, carry. If you don't want to carry, do you have to? No, it's up to you. But carry if you can. Because you never know. The gym, movie theaters, every place at grocery stores, especially grocery. I mean, there's been a few more in grocery stores than in other places, but grocery stores, Walmart's, Costco, Costco one in Chino, whoever's from Chino, out there, they had that big one where it was a pretty nasty environment there. Big active shooter there. So that's where we go with this, and again, being self-aware, seeing what's going on, knowing what's happening. Question back.
So you're talking about carrying in some of these places. Most of everywhere you go have a little sign in front, no firearms are allowed.
Correct.
Now, the bad guys aren't gonna follow it, but the good guys probably will, so
Yes.
that puts you at a disadvantage.
Absolutely, but then if you also look at it too, some of those signs are not legal. They'll slap one up there, but again, it's gotta state what law, it's gotta state certain things in the sign, you can look up the actual signage part. But if you just slap up a no firearm sign, technically you go like, it wasn't. It's like if you put a handicap placard on a parking spot, but don't cite the law, it's not technically a handicap spot. You can park it at all you want. I may not work it well out for you, for the officer that comes up but legally, I mean, if you wanna go to court and fight it, legally, there are requirements for signage. So you see 24 active shooter events in 2024. Dropping down, various public, again, everything varies, nothing's definitive. It's not like this year it was all parks, and next year it'll be all offices. It always changes. So this is the first and best line of defense. Just like when you're watching the movies, what do they always say right before something happens? It's quiet, too quiet. And then everything starts happening. They do it for dramatic, but it's also true. When we were overseas in Iraq, we would look for villagers. If we're coming down a street and kids aren't playing and everyone's gone, we know it's coming. So you just prep for it and keep walking, but you know it's coming. Where everyone's playing, everyone's having coffee, people are relaxing. It's a little safer. Something may still kick off, but they didn't communicate it to the town. So it's going to be a much smaller attack than if everyone was gone. So you go to first thing, observe. If I'm coming in here, sitting down, I'm in a polo and I could, if I wore long sleeves, I'd look like an insurance salesman, trying to take all y'all money. But if I'm coming in here in suit attire, I'm going to stand out. I'm not the typical person that comes here. Not saying it's bad. I'm not saying you're profiling racially. I'm not saying you're doing anything bad. But that's something out of the ordinary. That's something that we call a clue. Hey, security, there's someone wandering. They look like they're lost and all that. I'm not going to go up and see what's going on in case the individual is having mental issues. We'll contact security. Let them just, what we call a consensual encounter. How are you? They start mumbling to themselves. Oh, this requires a different response. Let me call cops. So again, they may have wandered on, they may be lost, they may be having a mental episode, they may be visiting someone here and be having an issue and could need some help. And you can get them the help that they need. So observe, look around, orient, understand where you're at. Wherever I go, if I'm in here, I know I can exit out that way. I know I can exit out that way. I know if I really need to, I can take one of these chairs, throw it through that window, and I can exit out that way. So how do I get out of any situation? Any former law enforcement in here? Former law enforcement, former military? Where do you sit when you go eat?
You got 5 or 10 minutes, I'll tell you exactly where I am. But you're right, back to the wall, I can see all the exits, I know where the kitchen is, I know where the toilet rooms are. If I'm looking for threats, where are the threats gonna come from? People always overlook the bathrooms. Actor comes in, needs a shot of courage in the bathroom or a shot of courage to go to the bathroom. Know where the kitchen is, because there's always an exit behind the kitchen. Sharp stuff there that you can use to defend yourself with. There are big stainless steel commercial kitchen appliances you can hide behind. That's the kind of thing you think about every time you walk in and couldn't see the restaurant.
Absolutely. So that's what you're looking at. Don't have your back to the door if you can avoid it. Unfortunately, since I'm bigger, and I'm not armed when I eat with my law enforcement friends, I'm the shield. So they put me with my back to the door, and they sit there. So I just look at like, whoever's armed, you better sit in front of me, and you better hit it. Please don't hit me. I don't want it from the front and back. I've already been hit. I've already been shot once. So it's just like but that's you plan that, and now we'll do it instinctively. We do it it takes 30 seconds. You walk in. Most restaurants here have a wait, so while you're doing that, where am I gonna sit? How am I gonna position it? I don't like where that chair's at. I'll move the table a little bit, and I'll sit down to where I'm facing the door. And again, like I said, the shot of courage, getting into the bathroom. A lot of times too, some don't want to walk in with a gun. You walk in with a gun, everyone's gonna stare at you, and here, people are armed, so they may engage you right away. Where if you come out of the bathroom, no one's looking at you. So that's why he wants to orient where you have the biggest, we call the field of view, so you can react appropriately. And I know this all sounds like tactical, ninja, military stuff, but so much of your lives, if you really break down, we've had kids, we have grandkids, and we have everyone over, what are we doing? You know, hey, let's go downtown to Phoenix. Let's go downtown Phoenix on 7th Street. Why would I do that? It's a tactically bad decision. That's not gonna end up, the risk reward, there's very little reward to that. Unless you're trying to show them some blight and some different smells. You know, so it's just like, you know, we do that all the time. So just, you know, you just take that, add it into some other environments that we're in now. And as our environment changes, how do I stay safe or how do I keep my family safe? And then sometimes you're like, all right, I'll go and I'll be the sacrificial lamb, but I gotta communicate to the family where they need to go while I'm causing the distraction. Communication is key, like any relationship, it's all about communication. Then you wanna decide. So observe, orient, decide, and act. That spells for us former military people, it's called the OODA loop. OODA loop. If you don't act, you're gonna sit there like a deer in the headlights with the loading thing. And it was this was invented by a colonel. The whole point of it is to break that cycle by acting. You don't act, you don't just make a quick decision, you're now a victim. So, you know, your indecisiveness is a decision. So, observe, orient, decide, act. That's all you have to do. Any questions on that? Anything you want to bring up, or any situations where you've seen it out in the town here, or we're just looking around, you've seen some, or in any part of our lives living in crazy areas? I know some of you come from some, you seem all prim and proud. I know some of you have some dicey backgrounds. You have some dicey neighborhoods you've all been in. So, you know, and you've done that. So again, feel free to bring this up. As we talked, where are my escape routes? If we were to hear fireworks right now, because everyone says they thought they were fireworks. If you hear a firework and you start hearing hissing, that's not a firework. That is it. That is a bullet. Hiss, hiss, hiss. So, because you'll hear boom, especially if it's a rifle, you'll hear a very loud hiss after. Even if it's not coming at you away, you will hear a hiss because it's breaking the air. So if you hear stuff afterwards, like hissing sounds after you hear a pop, where do I go? So if somewhere to happen out here, where would you go? Would you run? Would you hide, or would you fight?
Run.
Exactly. Run, all of them, however you want. And it depends on the situation, where they're at, and what you're physically capable of. Whatever you decide to do, though, do it with extreme violence. If you're gonna hide, hide hard. If you're gonna run, keep running. No one said stop and look. You don't have to film it or video it, sorry, on your phone.
I'll make another little comment. If you're gonna hide, don't go find toilet rooms and hide in the toilet rooms. It was done in San Bernardino, and the active shooter there where the husband and wife came back in. San Bernardino sheriff got there in 6 minutes.
Mhm.
People were hiding in the bathroom for 92 minutes. There's no way out of a bathroom once you go in. So if you're gonna hide, don't hide in the bathrooms.
Yeah, luckily they were there. And unfortunately for the Orlando nightclub shooting, that's where a majority of them went. And that's where there's fish in a barrel for them. So, and you know, know where you need to go. Clubs are the worst because everyone's in some sort of an inebriated state. And you don't really have full access to kind of look around. So there's the 1984, 1986 Quiet Riot fire. One of the clubs kind of burnt down. There was 3 exits that everyone could have used, but everyone only knew the one that came in. So everyone jammed to that one when there was 2 other exits that would have facilitated, and everyone would have gotten out fine. But they all jammed, they all packed, they all stampeded, wall of bodies, and then 100-something people passed away. So know your exits, because it really, and especially your secondary exits, because if possible, tertiary, a 3rd exit, just because if no one else is looking at them, you know they're going to be clear, and you can run to them and get out. I mean, everyone wants to be the hero and the thing. It's like, I'm going to go in and save everyone and do all that. You do you, but save your family and save everyone else who doesn't want to make that that sacrifice, help them. You getting people out is a great thing. You surviving is not a bad thing. So plenty of resources on this. FBI, YouTube, all you have to do is run, hide, fight in YouTube. You're gonna get 1,000 videos explaining it. Look for the ones from DHS, FBI, from all the little 3-letter organizations. Just so you know you're not getting any bum scoop or something where it's a sales pitch. You know, this is anything from the government, to quote Reagan, you know, from the government, I'm here to help, is helpful. You know, it is here to help y'all out. It's free. Take full advantage of it. And the best part is, if you want to take it and teach it to other people, take it and teach it to other people. You know, make sure people understand what run, hide, fight is. It's very simple. That's how plans should be. Unfortunately for my facilities, I have to write 54-page plans for active shooter. How much of that plan do you think we're going to use in an active shooter?
2 or 3 pages.
Run, hide, fight. It's all we're using. And I'm not armed. So I'll have the agents coming in if they're there. Otherwise, it's just administrative officer. I'm a security specialist. We're just administrative, professional, technical people. So we just sit there and we're just gonna go, that's unfortunate. Fortunately for us, we have a safe. We can open it, we can close it. Someone's got to let us out of that safe, but at least no one is coming in that safe.
Yeah.
Without the 3 different codes and 4 other different things they have to do to get in it. So we'll have plenty of ammo, just no guns. So again, if we're running, you gonna grab your purse, suitcases, you gonna grab anything? No, run. You'll get it later. Or if not, oh well. But you're alive. You can always replace anything. Yes, the DMV's horrible. Way better here than it is in California. I don't know about other states. This place is awesome because they have private places you can go to and get it. California, you're waiting 4 or 5 hours even with an appointment. If you get an appointment in 6 months.
Oh,
Especially with the real ID stuff. If you haven't got your real ID, have fun with that. It's gonna take a while. So hide. Can we hide behind these curtains? It gives us now what you're gonna hear, especially for people that shoot. You have cover and concealment. That would be concealment. So it's just gonna conceal you, you're gonna block it. Cover, something where you get behind it and it provides cover. So if someone's shooting at you, it's gonna protect you. Now, if I get behind like those 4 wooden slats, depending on the caliber, and we can have discussions all day long on different calibers, but depending on that can stop a decent amount of rounds. So those are pretty thick wood. I'd have to tap it and see if it's solid or not. But there's things you can do to hide. Hide behind that. I mean, you can have, if you can scratch down, I can't. I'm big and I'm not flexible. I lift a lot of weights, so I can't. I'm just gonna stand there and be like, hopefully the vision's based off movement. But just try and hide. Try and hide as best you can, not move. Silence the phone. I mean, it was the silence of the phone. Don't have your damn phone on you. Like, yeah, see, it's right there. Someone's got their boom. Here comes the T-Rex, you know? We all want to call 911, but if you leave your phone out here and it rings, it's not giving your position away.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like, I know we all want to call 911 too. But if you can, avoid having the phone. If you're running, run. Put the phone in your pocket, yeah, run. Run with those elbows. And then fight. If you're in here, what could you grab in here that you can use as a weapon? Plenty of weapons. Chair,
table.
book. I'm a big guy, but if I'm coming in and you start hucking, Ayn Rand at me and War and Peace and stuff like that, that's gonna sting. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna be annoying, and I'm not. And a lot of shooters are not mentally prepared for that. You see it when when people fight back, you will see them pause. They think, because this isn't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
How many stories we read where they're all former Marines, because we're awesome. 90-year-old former Marine boxer takes down a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old. We have that hate and discontent, but when you're gonna fight, you fight. You have the experience, use it. Do what you're physically capable of. But when you do it with all of your might. If you're gonna attack me, attack me. Don't come at me cutesy, it's not gonna work. But usually we always say, fight as a last resort. If you can get out, get out. That's always the safest one, is get out, run, hide, do whatever, get out. As soon as you hear those fireworks, move. If they're fireworks, hey, I heard fireworks, sorry. Thought it was gunshots, I'm coming back in. People may chuckle a little bit, but if you're right, you're already out. So feel free. Don't let anyone, don't be afraid of what people are gonna say, to jeopardize your safety. I'll always move my family first and let people go like, oh, you're just scared of things. Yep, I'm scared of losing my family. I'm scared of not reacting when I was given the opportunity to. And and everyone that sits there and doesn't react to it, and they end up either a victim or something, they got to start off the statement with the horrid thing. Well, I thought.
Yeah.
Anytime you start off with anything with "well, I thought," you're wrong. I've never heard that line said to anyone where they were right. So, act. You're here with friends. You're here with people that care about you. And if anything, just be selfish. I'm selfish. I like living. I got a lot more to do. So I will save my family and I will do that. That's always priority. But after that, I like living.
I didn't realize this is Zoom.
Sorry.
Oh, it is?
Oh, no worries. I was like, oh, we got someone on Teams.
It's already started.
So this is just one of the things that came out. Very small Arkansas town. Guy came in with a shotgun to the store and just started shooting.
Was it
4 people died, 9 people injured, including 2 law enforcement officers. So it's just, just red. We're not gonna go into any of the other details. The case is still pending.
Take
We're
note.
going through, no motive has been found as to why he went in and randomly started shooting, which goes with all of the data that we've had. You don't know. We've had a lot of potential active shooters stopped because people were armed. So if you're armed, again, if you're not going to use the gun, do not carry the gun. It will be used against you and others. So if you're going to carry that gun, make that grown-up decision that I'm going to have to use deadly force. And then that's when I start talking to my wife and go like, hey, please don't reach over and honk my horn when someone cuts me off. Don't do this, because what is the ultimate, because what is the final, what is the finale? Where could this lead to? Or someone cutting me off, am I willing to go to deadly force? And everyone's like, no, that won't happen. It's like, well, if he stops and gets out of the car, starts hitting my car, I'm gonna pull out a gun, he may pull out a gun, we just did that, and I got you guys here, and I'd rather not. And it can happen like that. And now I'm in a deadly force situation, now I'm getting sued, going through the court system, which don't ever let that delay. You'll deal with that. Court is court. Doesn't matter if you're in the right and you saved a puppy and cured cancer when you did it, you're still gonna get sued. You're always gonna go to court if you pull the trigger. So that's an inevitability, but don't be afraid to if you need to. After we're done, post-incident. So when law enforcement arrives, I'm tapped out. I've been sitting in a patrol car for however long my shift has been, and 70 pounds of gear. Listening to my music, typing up a report or patrolling, or I'm on a call with some random crazy person that I'm fighting in a Social Security Administration office. And I get a call to another one, which I've done, and got to an active shooter. As I'm handcuffing this person, active shooter, throw him in the back of the car, and I go to the active shooter. So I know, sorry, Chief, don't yell at me or I had to do what I had to do. We're a small department. But it's just well, I'm coming in hot. Full gear. I always wore my vest, so I have my outer plates, I have my active shooter plates on all the time when I patrol. So I'm coming out, I have a rifle. I have 70-pound vest, my vest, my belt, my drop leg holsters, everything that's in my pockets, everything that's in my pouches. I have my M4 fully loaded, 40-round mag with my optic. I'm looking just over my optic. That is my field of fire, my field of view. So anything below that means I can't see it. So, probably shouldn't come out like, hey, how's it going? You have 0.25 seconds to live. That is it. 0.25 seconds for me. I see you. I acknowledge you're a threat. So that's usually about half second. Click, 0.25 seconds, 0.25 seconds, 0.25 seconds. 0.25 seconds. And you drop. So when cops wear stuff here, like a badge right there, they wear nothing else, they get shot by cops. So, you know, put stuff up here. Your hands better be open up here. Do not have your phone in your hand. It's dark, it looks like a gun. And you go, hey, I'm just right here, pop. Sorry. And then I won't render aid. I don't. My job is to stop the threat. So until the gunshot stops and I have a code 4, I'm looking for the active shooter. I am not helping anyone bleeding out. Whether I caused it or not, I can't. If anyone tries to help them, they're generally a victim too. Because they're not running, they're not hiding, they're not fighting. Oh, I know we all want to save our friends and all that, but how many IFAC kits do we have here right now? Individual first aid kits? None. Tourniquets? No one? So what are you going to use? That's it, and then run. But as the cops, as I come in, I'm coming in hot. And I'm not saying this is a scary one. This is just the harsh reality. I'm going to be coming out. Get out, get out, get out of the way. If you come running at me, I'm going to put my barrel in your face. I'm going to hit you out of the way or try and get you out of the way. You're a threat running at me. You're preventing me from doing my job. Hands out and open. Now I know you're not a threat. Move to the side. Let me move past you. I'll look. Do you know what they look like? You know, one shooter. It was one shooter. They had a handgun, if you know, but just one shooter. It's one person. And then you can just run and get out. Because if the cop's running that way, the shooter's not there. So go where the cop just came from. But I'm coming in hot. I'm coming in fast. And hopefully I have backup. If not, I'm running in. I'm trying to clear space for myself. So where's my threat? All around. So I'm going to be a little hyped up. So that's how they're going to come in. And once everything calms down and we get a code 4, then the ambulances will come in.
It's a code 4.
Sorry, it means all clear. So when everything's done, you know, the suspect is in custody, the suspect is down, however we say it, medical will not enter. They'll stay about a half mile to a mile away. And they will sit until we tell them the scene is clear. And then they will come in to render aid to all the people that are in. So the faster we can find that person, the less distractions we have, the faster we get people medical that need medical. There's only very, very few. I don't think they have them here. I know in LA, they had guys that were crazy enough and they gave them armor, helmets, and everything. Not armed, but they would run into active shooters and start rendering it. With officers that showed up, they would stand by close to go in and offer tactical aid. That's it. I don't think they have it here. So when you're done, everything's done, law enforcement's cleared. How do you take care of yourself? You know, you're gonna have it's a situation. It's taking you out of that ordinary situation you've always been in, and that's where we start getting the PTSDs. You know, you don't have to be, and again, people have been in car accidents, stuff like that. We don't have to be in some crazy situation to have PTSD. It's something that's out of the ordinary of our daily lives that makes us not feel safe. It spikes the adrenaline, and now that's caused a change in our mental well-being, and could do physiological changes to us, and that's where we get it from. So how do we do it? Seek help. A lot of times there's going to be free services. Do free services. Call someone. Talk to someone. Get that out there. That's helped me out from doing all my stuff overseas. It's really, really helped. And while yes, it's like, you know, you're a therapist, you didn't go to war, stuff like that. That was me in the beginning. When I was 22. 46 now, I'll talk to anyone about it. It's like, oh, you're clinical? Cool. You're not, you're just here, you know, let's talk. It's so much better for you and helps you process things a little better to help you get that mental clarity. So always think of that. Always think of counseling. Oh, that's right. Oh, nice. Not this one. So, resources. Anywhere. Just Google it. Just Google active shooter resources. You're going to have to filter through the top 4 or 5, which is going to be some local person who paid Google for their services. It's gonna be a security company. It's gonna offer active shooter training, something of that nature. Cycle through it. But here, when you have a community like this and you're in the gun club, you know, we're utilizing the resources. Everyone has someone that they know, or they can do it themselves and help you out. We're all here to help each other. So active shooter, just react. My thing is just don't be in that OODA loop where you're that deer in the headlights. And all it starts is in the morning, just like, hey, if I hear an active shooter, I'm going to run. So bare minimum, if anything happens, you're gonna just start running and you're gonna wonder why you're running. But you already have that training in your head. It's when you don't think about something, that's where you pause and lock up. As we say, you're gonna revert back to your lowest form of training. And you discussing it with yourself is training. So if you sit there and go, I'm gonna do this, or you sat in a store or you're waiting in line. If someone says this to me, I'm gonna yell at them right back. What do you do instinctively if someone does that? You instantly yell right back at them because you've trained yourself, this is how I'm gonna react. And then you usually dial it back, I'm sorry, it's been a hard day, it's been long, this. But you've trained yourself to, that's how I'm gonna instantly react. Now, if you say, I'm just gonna tell the next person, hi, you know, just whatever they say, just go hi and extend my hand out to handshake. You will do that. If pressed in a little bit of a stressful situation, you will, because that's your lowest form of training. So discuss that with yourselves. You're not, there's that stigma that if you think about this, that you're some dark, demented person. I think about way worse stuff. The college papers I wrote put me on watch lists, and now I work for the government. But if you don't think that way, how can you protect yourself from it? You know, you got to think like a criminal. My papers in college were about international terrorist organizations attacking key places here in the United States. So the papers that I wrote were fairly detailed, how I would get material, how the transport mechanisms were, and it really messed some teachers up because they stopped calling. Those are my final papers. I got my grade, but I never got to speak with my teachers again. So, because one I attacked Disneyland. And I used kids that transported bombs, so it's just really. Don't take a free backpack at Disneyland if you see a guy like me. Yeah. So that was my thing. Someone hands out free backpacks. Command detonated, blah, 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 blah. We can go over that later. But again, if I don't think like that, how can I tell Disneyland when I do a threat assessment what to defend against? Vapor wake dogs, you know, why do you think they inspect now? Before, I walked in, and I was with FPS. I totally forgot the Anaheim one. I know Orlando, no weapons, they have everything there. I just walked in. I've always carried my SIG on me, and I walked in, and one of the officers was like, hey, your knife's there. I have my knife right here. And I was like, oh, all right. And I walked in. My wife's like, oh, that stinks. They took your knife. And I'm like, yeah. Well, I totally forgot I'm carrying my SIG and 3 mags. And they totally missed it.
Oh.
I was in the place. So I was just like, oh, well, I'm not gonna go on any rides, you know. So it's just like, and then I left, went back to the parking lot. I have a safe in my car, but it's just like, you know, very easy to miss stuff.
Yeah.
So they have better technology now, but that's only because someone like me came in, wrote up a thing and how it can break in, or we call it red cell. And I did penetration tests. So these are all gonna come up. Anyone in here has some great information. Anyone in the gun clubs can give you some decent information, but again, look it up. Do it on your own, take the time, sit at home, you know, or contact us. I'll leave my cards here, so if anyone wants needs anything, we can do some emails or text or something like that. Yeah, I have no problem helping anyone out. But that is it for this. Just overview, just situational awareness. The main thing is just knowing where you're at. It is way too easy to get way too comfortable in here. This is a gay community, but when I pulled up, the gal was really nice. All I said was, I'm here to speak at the club. Okay. Went right in. I had my ID out. I was ready to show credentials, stuff like that. Nope. Nothing against them. That may be what we call the SOP, the standard operating procedure. So, and then that's how you come up as a community, or I'd say, hey, let's make sure there's better access control. But you have to bring that up as a community because that's going to cost money. So or time. So it's just like, as that comes up, But again, it's always open for discussion. So don't get too comfortable regardless that you're here. People have issues. People may have a bad mental health day. And are guns on this property? Absolutely. So there's guns, there's knives, there's cars. If I get angry and I just want to start barreling people down cars, that seems to be the tool of New York though. And in LA, they had a guy in a gray minivan who was running people down during all the riots. So there's all kinds of stuff that you can do, that you can see, that you can observe, and then regular preparedness, regular discussions. And and anything else is just discuss it. But don't be afraid of it. It's preservation. That's all I got. Are there any questions? Any stories, anything that people were in?
So I'm going to commend your agency because you're not going to do it for yourself. The Secret Service National Threat Assessment Center is available to all of you. You can sign up on their email distribution list. NTAC has done a brilliant job on all of these subjects. They do tie in with what you said about the guy and their analysis. Larry's question about mental instability of candidates, actors. You go through some of the NTAC data, they'll tell you the things to look for. Almost all active shooters are going to plan ahead, sometimes for years. And there's evidence out there if we're aware of it, and if you know what to look for, you may all be able to help get out in front of an event. And his agency has done a brilliant job of analyzing now almost 200 active shooter events.
And we've gone through NTAC, FBI Center. So you just secretservice.gov. And then at the bottom is NTAC, National Threat Assessment Center. And you just sign up for the mailers and all of it's free. All the analysis is there. FBI, the exact same thing, FBI.gov. And you can take a look over it. Anyone wants to see it, the latest FBI one's right there. Easy reads. It's not 200 pages of like 6 font and lots of sign. It's all, they understand that it's officers and most of us are Marines. So crayons, pictures, Cookie Monster. We need stuff that we can observe and absorb to tell people instead of just sitting here and trying to remember, the Harvard study of active shooters when it comes to mental health in 1925, it's just like all this other stuff where it's like, I can't recite that. But if I go like, oh, it's 25% because there's some big letters, because that was the main takeaway. 25%, it's this.
Not to get into the science fiction, I heard something somewhere where they were going to be implementing AI, almost kind of like the pre-crime unit in Minority Report, where they were going to look at different posts that come up on social media and be able to predict ahead of time some of these active shooter capabilities or active event capabilities based on a lot of chatter.
Correct. They already have that.
Something that they're doing.
No, they already have that. You gotta remember, everyone's afraid of NSA. They're reading my emails. NSA personally isn't reading your email. But, because how many emails do you think about a day? I have no number. But, so you're not wrong. You say 100, it's like, wow, I can't prove you wrong. But it's substantial. And NSA does not have that many employees. So they need something to speed up that process. So before they work with Google, they work with all the internet service providers. And they go, I want you to search these emails for these keywords. When those keywords come up, you will send them to me. And then that was NSA. Then NSA developed their own programs and brought everything back in. So they are watching the emails. Nothing encrypted and this. There's very few things that are encrypted point to point. Now, if I have there's a couple companies that they make, Eric Prince, he makes a phone, but I have to have the phone and you have to have the phone. And we can only talk on that. If I download anything else, I've just opened that phone up to outside people listening. So they have it. AI does it exponentially faster than the search engines they were using prior. So AI is there, and it's what they do is, again, it's predictive. But we've been doing predictive crime analysis since the beginning of crime. How do we dispatch our resources more effectively? Well, if we know the south, the south side of the city is where all the crime's at, where am I gonna have majority of my resources? There, so it's just predictive, and they're gonna do it, but they can't do anything prior, they can't sit there and go, we think you're gonna do this. If you haven't crossed the line, that's why they have to wait, because then what's your evidence when you go to court, and you're gonna get slammed. But that along with the like NTAC, and we call it a threat assessments teams, or we sit down, it's just like, well, one thing may not be illegal, it's a telltale, like, Jim's always been super happy and nice. Now he's a little angrier. He's getting into guns, which is a bad thing, but then he's like, now he's really idolizing active shooters, and he has, violent anti-government rhetoric that he's been shouting. He's just, the personality's changed. But then what does everyone do? Nothing. And then, well, Jim, he seemed off. As people are mowed down all around him, he seemed off. But there's also what do you do? So as a community, you can form those assessment teams. As an individual, it does get difficult. But what do you do if it's a family member that it's happening? Look it up. Look up the resources that your city, county may have to get that individual the help they need. And that help, if you're wrong, you're wrong. But at least you tried. And you never know. That help may be what they needed, that push to stop them from doing that bad thing, and to see like, hey, someone does care about me. I'm not all alone, or I'm not by myself. I'm not this. So someone is looking out for me. So I have that feeling of love and warmth, and maybe I do need to talk about this. So, never be afraid to report it, to seek out guidance, or bring someone in. If someone is off, who you hang out with. They're really off. You notice it. Ask them, talk to them real quick. If you're not afraid that it's going to be violent, hey, is everything okay? How are you doing? I'm okay. Oh, okay. Well, what's going on? Start trying to see. Start trying to help. If it starts getting crazy and the person starts to like give you cross eyes, all right, we'll leave it at that. Keep having the coffee or whatever. But see what you can do to help out. It is up to you. You're the first people that see it. It's not me. It's not us at NTAC. We'll give you all the information in the world, but what happened? The incident happened. We can only give you information on stuff that's passed. How do we prevent it? I'd rather have NTAC go away because everyone's so in tune. I'd rather have law enforcement go away. I'd rather have all that go away. But the reason why we need it. But it's all about the community. So anyone else? Just back there, you just came in. Any questions?
Sorry, I missed it.
So what non-lethal device should you carry with you in general?
So what I found is helpful, everyone says pepper spray, I say pepper gel. So pepper gel comes out like syrup. And once it hits them, have you ever tried to get syrup off your hands from pancakes? Now imagine it here. So not only will it get that, and they can't get it out, it will do a UV dye on their skin. So if I find them like, I didn't do it, that wasn't me, and I put a UV light to them, they're gonna come out bright blue. Ah, it was you. Unless you're wearing some weird makeup, that makes it happen. Pepper spray, if it's windy, it's really windy out here, it'll come back at you. Pepper foam can be thrown back in. And it's affected by the wind as well. So pepper gel, 25 feet, pretty good. That's the cheapest one. Now, where do you get it? You can go Tombstone Tactical. That's the only store I see when I go downtown. So I see Tombstone Tactical. My favorite place is lapolicegear.com, but I would rather say shop local. Take care of our Arizona neighbors. Just look up pepper spray where to purchase. A lot of it you can mail order it now. In most cities, you can either have what's called, and you have to write this down, an MK2 or an MK3. So 2 ounces or 3 ounces. Anything above that may be illegal. So a 4 ounce, and we have one that's called, the bear spray, they have bear spray small ones, but most bear spray comes with that handle. You pull the handle and it's a fogger. Civilians in most places cannot own them. I'm not sure in Arizona, I'm still reading up on a lot of the laws. So just make sure if you have the small one, you're generally pretty good. anything that fits on a keychain, but I would go pepper gel. Taser makes some great, if you've never been tased, don't do it, it's fantastic, but don't do it. But it's effective. Not 100% effective, but it's effective. They make great civilian ones. If you use it, it hits them and it goes for 30 seconds. Law enforcement's 5 seconds. So for civilians, they're just going like boom, it hits them, it's meant to be dropped, and you run away. So, and then if you fill out a police report, Taser will send you a new one for free. As long as it accompanies the police report and it's not you tasing the dog or something, you're good. There's a new one called the Bolo Wrap. So the Bolo Wrap comes out, you turn it on, there's a green laser, you shoot it, it wraps around their legs. So effective, but not long. Because if I'm standing like this and you grab my legs, I'm not going to go forward. If I can close my legs, it will fall and then come after you. So it's really good. It's good for law enforcement because I'm coming in quickly, cuffing under power, as we call it. But it's effective because boom, they're hearing a boom, something's hitting them, they're freaking out, you're taking off. And then that usually will, all right, I'm not going to mess with that individual, I'll find another victim. So it's still effective. And then there's the Byrna, I think the BYRNA, the Byrna one. They have some which it's a spray or it's a 68 caliber projectile, the same we use for our pepper ball systems. That's effective as well too. So it comes out like a handgun, looks like a handgun. Not, I can totally tell because it's different colors, but it pops out and it's pepper ball and it's pop rounds, so they'll start coughing and it gets up into their nose. So that's another effective tool. I think there's a couple more things coming out, but that's generally those three. Maybe you're carrying 2 out of those 3, you're pretty solid.
The pepper gel, can you pack that in checked in baggage and is it legal in all states?
I can't say it's legal in all states because nothing's ever legal in all states. Generally, it's New York and California that throw me for a loop. You cannot put it in check bag because it's under pressure. There's a pellet. Now, it's also only $20, $20-$30. So if you really need it at your destination, what you can do is go to the local place, ship it, or buy one and have it drop shipped to wherever you're going. So if you want to have it there, but most places you can find, just look for any law enforcement tactical store, and they usually have pepper spray stuff that you can buy. If that's all I have is pepper spray, hey, get what you can get. But generally, I like pepper gel. That's what I have. It holds up pretty well in the heat of a car, but I would not leave it in Arizona heat. Take it out with you because it will explode in your car. And when that happens and you have to wash all of your radio equipment and your shotgun and everything else because someone forgot it in the car, it makes it difficult to go into your car and everyone's laughing at you when you're getting a ride home. So, be careful because yeah, it gets hot here and all you see is wetness and I wouldn't even open it. It's not a good day.
Same thing happens with burning.
The burner, okay, so there you go.
The balls are designed to fracture. And so burner will tell you to cycle your ammo every 18 months because the balls get more fracturable, thinner in the heat. And as soon as it fractures, everybody thinks this is a gas, but it's not. It's small particles. And those particles then will permeate everything in your car. Okay? So same thing will happen with burner.
So yeah, so just pull, whatever you take with you, pull out. Taser's pretty good, but batteries, lithium ion in extreme heat. It's not bad, but it's not great. So again, just take stuff with you. Stuff you can put in a purse, stuff you can put on a keychain is always pretty effective. And again, it just lets them know. If you give someone a little squirt, and they smell it, and they get some in their eyes, and it's like, then it's like they're gonna rethink life and find a new victim because you're not a victim anymore. You're someone that fights back.
All right, let's thank Eric Moore. We're out of time here. We have to give up the room shortly, so please take advantage of your time. Next month, we'll be back on the second Wednesday, and you'll see a notice there, and we're going to again have Vince Perez from C2 Tactical come on down and talk about some interesting stuff. Thanks again. Have a good day.